Oh, why are you starting The Walking Dead? Are you serious? Are you kidding? Okay. Guys, I am a big fan of The Walking Dead, but I was sleeping. I was sleep. You know what time it is? It's 12 o'clock. Okay. Well, goodbye. So I don't have to deal with the zombie apocalypse. Okay. I'm still alive. You guys want me to start it? Fine. Wait. What is today? Sunday. Are Sundays game days too? Yay! But no drink. Fuck me. Okay.
Somehow a show about dead people. Listen. Somehow a show about dead people is still alive and kicking with no end in sight. And when it comes to TV LMEs, this is probably one of the most requested ones, and there's a bunch out there that you guys can continue commenting down below. And thanks to the peeps over at Philo, we're looking to explain them all. If you don't want to get spoiled, as you know we do here on LME, you can literally catch up on the entirety of The Walking Dead through your phone, tablet, TV, refrigerator, if you got that function on it, just by downloading Philo. You get 40 channels for only 16 bucks a month. I'll be straight with you, you can literally get it, cancel it once your favorite show starts airing. But here at LME, we got you even further, right? If you click the link down below, you'll get an entire week where you can catch up on everything for free. And it's so legit, they ain't even asking for your card info when you sign up, right? You literally just put in your phone number and you can start binging live TV, recording your favorite shows, and we like it so much, I'll be honest, you can just go to the site and sign up, but if you like what we do here at LME, you can use that link and support the channel by literally watching free TV. So shout out for those of you who do, for those who comment down below on what you want to see the next TV LME be on, and shout out to Philo for helping me turn into a zombie as I re-binged 115 episodes of The Walking Dead. So, let me explain. Season 1 is hands down the best one. It was run by the dude who made Shawshank, was a tight 6 episodes, and obviously kicked off one of the biggest series of all time. We meet Rick Grimes, who's a sheriff that ended up in a coma after a shootout, and dude was out for so long that by the time he awoke, the freaking zombie apocalypse had swept over. Like, imagine getting your wisdom teeth removed, and when you get out, World War III has started. He tries to look for his family and shoots a little girl, ends up finding a father-son duo who helps him out a bit before he leaves them and tells Morgan that he'll see him later. He sees him later. Homie plays real-life Red Dead into town, but forgets it's the DLC, causing him to pull a Sierra Burgess under a tank, when luckily Glenn from The Walking Dead saves him, and they end up on a rooftop. Now, they're in the South, so you know that there's still tensions going on between these two, and T-Dog dropping the keys, leaving Yonder to reenact Saw, that doesn't help. They end up dressing up like Lady Gaga in order to get past the walkers. They end up at a camp where Rick is able to reconnect with his family, but little does he know that his ex-buddy of a cop was connecting with his wife. Of course, now that they're in the apocalypse, everything's changed, so they have a completely different set of worries, right? Their only concerns are adultery and domestic abuse and racial tensions, but there's hope when they go to the CDC in order to find a cure, except that when they get there, the dude who's running the place is trying to pull a Desmond from Lost, and he wants to self-destruct the place when AMC's like, whoa, we're gonna milk this show for all it's got, and they allow the main cast to drive off and find another season. Now, this one drags more than the huge traffic jam that they find themselves in the beginning. There are a bunch of videos out there on the production which you could definitely catch on how AMC pretty much just started whoring out the episodes, right? They fired Frank Darabont in order to stretch out the series, and honestly, you can tell. While they're stuck on the interstate, Sophie makes the dumbest choice of her life and randomly runs off the side, and while they're out trying to look for her,
fucking really,
they Bambi Carl. But he ends up in heaven. There's this farm run by a dude named Herschel who has the hottest daughters in the apocalypse, and he allows him to stay there as Carl recovers, even though nobody in this farm agrees with each other. There's Dale, who's like Walter White in his RV. If he never broke bad, and eventually he dies, and he was supposed to be the most moral one. Rick and Shane are always tweaking and arguing with each other, especially when it turns out that Lori's pregnant, and unless they rock, paper, scissors it, one of them is going to have to go. And then it turns out that Herschel's been keeping zombies in his barn because he believes in rehabilitating them, and since half the group finds that to be extremely weird, Shane decides to go. Let me tell you something. No. Shoots all the zombies, revealing that Sophia was actually in there the entire time as she comes out as a walker in the end, and Rick continues to shoot kids. Now, as much as I like Jon Bernthal, unless my man's playing the Punisher, dude is way too intense to be around, right? Rick realizes this and sets out to kill Shane, and like father, like son, Carl also kills Shane. They end up leaving the farm as they head to a prison, and it turns out that that sweet nothing that was whispered in Rick's ear in season 1 was that everyone is already infected. So even if you die of a damn paper cut, you're coming back as a walker. Rick tells him that he's in charge and that what he says goes, as we cut into the intro of a brand new character. They make it to the prison where they find criminals who've been locked in there so long that the criminals are like, did we miss Taco Tuesday? Rick tries to divide the prison with the criminals, but then realizes why they're criminals to begin with and decides to cut it. They get a new black person in the cast, so you know the AMC rule. They get rid of T-Dog and So Long Sweet Prince, and then So Long Tyrese when they see Morgan again. Lori gives birth, so again, they need to cut it, and Carl has to put his mama down, and he does so like a man. In fact, it's his dad who starts losing it. Homie starts talking to his dead wife on the phone. He's going crazy and kicking out innocent people from the shelter. And then he has to deal with this dude called the Governor. Now, I don't want to fully be that person, but I'm gonna be that person. The Governor in the comic was crazy. Dude straight up chopped Rick's hand off the moment that they met, which meant that the literal main character from the series had no arm for over 100 issues. Maybe it was, saving them ink not to draw that hand, and perhaps the CGI for TV was too expensive, but man, I wanted to see that scene. Anyways, the Governor grossly governs Woodbury, which is this mini town that's been set up. They got their own little society, but this dude has his dead daughter on a leash. Instead of cable, this guy just sits and watches a dead aquarium. He kills the National Guard for their weapons, shoots his own damn people, hired the coach from Insatiable to be a doctor, and then almost gropes Glenn's girl before he realizes he ain't on HBO. Merle from season 1 comes back without an arm, so I guess that was the substitute. And since he sees himself as his brother's daddy, he turns on the Governor to help Rick's group before he himself turns. Michonne and Andrea also end up in Woodbury, and if you saw Breaking Bad and you knew how bad Skyler was, Andrea had always been worse during this time. There were so many scenes where she would just fall down. There was points where she was shooting people who were in her own group. She was always complaining, but it's specifically in season 3 where she had the chance to bash the Governor and instead smashes the Governor. So he kills her instead. Michonne, who is a top 3 character, grabs her katana, shish kebabs the Governor, and kills his already dead daughter as he gets enraged so much to the point that he sets his one good eye out to destroy the prison. If y'all haven't read The Rise of the Governor, I highly recommend it. Even if you just Wikipedia it and read the plot, it's a super dope backstory about the Governor. I think you're going to enjoy it. And it's the perfect thing to entertain you during the first couple episodes of this season because they're literally just dealing with a pig flu. Eventually, the Governor does return with a tank, and since he's been practicing a swing, he puts that swing into play and then knocks over their fences since he knows Denzel ain't inside. The fences get split, Michonne splits the Governor, and then the group gets split as all this chaos goes down. So now we got one storyline where Carl starts going through puberty while his dad hibernates. Daryl and Beth get super drunk on moonshine before he loses her and ends up joining a biker gang. Glenn and Tara run into this country group as he tries to find his wife. They randomly meet the Penguin a bit earlier, but the craziest one of them all is the storyline with Carol and Tyrese, who are taking...
Good one. They said they meet the Penguin. that was a good joke. Okay. I can let that slide.
Care of these two sisters, and one of the sisters sees zombies as pets, so she decides to turn her own sister into a zombie, and they have to of mice and men her. Before they all get reunited after getting captured, Rick gets captured, and in what I think is one of the most sickest scenes of the entire series, Rick kills this dude by biting off his neck, which is completely ironic when you realize that the place that they're about to go to, Terminus, is full of cannibals. All of them are able to reunite as they get corralled into a boxcar and become dry-aged meat as they're cooped up in there like Chicken Run by the end of the season. So Carol comes in and frees them from Terminus with a couple of bombs that she just found, and thus they only have to worry about dead people eating humans, and not living ones. They meet Gabriel, who's a bigger punk than Judas Iscariot since he left his entire congregation out to die. But then there's this other punk named Eugene who convinced these two to take care of him because he swore to them that he was a scientist who can find a cure as long as they got him to Washington. But
I lied. Not a scientist.
Getting catfished even in the apocalypse? Now, a big part of this season is trying to get back Beth, who's in a hospital, and it turns out that she's the only one who doesn't hate Chris, but like all of her previous crushes, it ain't gonna go so well. She ends up getting shot, and the entire group ends up without hope in the middle of nowhere, until a younger Kevin Spacey, who, as long as they keep a watch on Carl, they should be okay. Rick at first doesn't want to trust him until Aaron reminds him that he chooses to live as a gay man, and they go with him to Alexandria. They're pretty progressive in this place as it's run by a congresswoman, and everyone's actually doing okay. They're all nice. It's this little society where everyone's safe. It's just none of them know how to deal with the apocalypse. These dudes are having like cocktail parties and PTA meetings. Most of them don't even know how to spell the word zombie. So Rick starts going a little crazy and he starts acting like the villain because he wants to take over in order to force everyone to be safe. And so Michonne has to Conor McGregor the dude. Town ends up setting up a meeting to decide whether they should kick out Rick or not. But because they couldn't even close the front door, Rick ends up pulling up to this meeting with a zombie, claiming his point that they don't know how to take care of themselves when a crazy husband shows up with a katana, trying to kill Rick, accidentally kills the congresswoman's husband by accident, and then Rick is given free range to take over Alexandria as it starts to fall apart. But hey, he sees Morgan again. So now there's this new group called the Wolves who cut W's into their forehead and they just keep taunting them, but this season is more concerned about romance. Rick was dating the wife of the dude who tried to kill him before moving on to Michonne. Tara starts dating the doctor. Carl starts flirting with this emo girl. Abraham was dating Rosita before going to Sasha. And right when Maggie finds out she's pregnant, this punk shoots himself, causing Glenn to fall into a horde of zombies. And of course, they would follow up this cliffhanger of an episode with a slow-paced flashback episode. So instead, let me take this time to show you a little kill count montage. Glenn didn't die, but pretty much everyone else dies as Alexandria gets run over by zombies. Carl loses an eye so he doesn't have to keep seeing all this bullcrap. And as their souls start to deteriorate, they end up finding Jesus, who introduces them to another community called the Hilltop, run by this punk named Gregory, and another spot named the Kingdom by a dude who owns a freaking tiger. The wolves then turn into the saviors, who are now the problem, and they seem to have goons everywhere. Like, they all pull that Spartacus thing where they all claim that they're Negan, the supposed leader of the group. They're causing these roadblocks. Eugene bites a penis, and then the real Negan shows up, lines up the entire main cast to teach them a lesson for killing his men, and that hits the cameraman. So unlike the biblical story of Isaac, Abraham gets sacrificed here, which sucks because he was a cool character who at least got to say one dope line before he got cut. But at least, you know, luckily, it wasn't like the comics where they killed the day one. No! So hard, your eyeball just popped out. Lena Negan then just makes everything so depressing, which it's funny because his backstory is that he was a PE teacher who survived the apocalypse by belittling people. He even named his bat Lucille after his wife who died of cancer, but he's the reason why there's a whole unrated cut of these seasons, because he just likes throwing out F-bombs. He's torturing Daryl, even though everyone knows he's going to be fine because he's a boondock saint. We learned that Negan acts like a Mormon who likes taking other people's wives, and if anyone tries to do anything, like Dwight here, he just irons their face. He makes Eugene his hoe since, Eugene's a punk who, even when his home people try to rescue him, he pukes on them. Rick's still set on killing Negan though, so he decides to steal guns from these Why the Last Man group of ladies who's run by a grandma, tries to partner up with these trash people who have guns, but the only way to get them is by fighting their walker minotaur. It's weird. But then the trash people end up double-crossing them. Negan pulls up and is about to whack-a-mole Carl when Tony the Tiger appears from the depths of hope.
The all-out
Everything's an all-out war. For some reason, Rick goes back to ask the trash people for help, even though they screwed him over, and they screw him even more with this random GQ photo shoot instead. Carl gets bit because he wanted to save his medical students, and he ends up leaving letters for everyone, including Negan, since they randomly had a cooking show at one point. And then he exits the show so he can go play Fortnite. Meanwhile, Negan's going back and forth with his right-hand man named Simon,
Carl?
who played Trevor in GTA, so this dude is messed up. But they're arguing about whether they should kill all of the humans or whether they should be using them as resources. And since Simon doesn't want to agree with him, Negan double taps X and kills him. A bunch more violence ensues. They randomly meet Georgie, who's like a third-grade music teacher. More violence ensues as people turn. A helicopter randomly appears. They continue their all-out war. And there's talking zombies.
Are you going to talk about season 9?
By the end of season 8, I swear there was like 20 double crosses that were happening in each episode. But the biggest twist of them all was that the bullets that Eugene has been making this entire time were actually rigged to backfire on the Saviors in order to help Rick win. So I guess he was a scientist after all. Rick and Negan have a street fight, a Fast and Furious fight, and then the final fight where he slashes Negan's throat before second-guessing his options and giving Negan 25 for life instead. At this point, Maggie's starting to plan revenge because she wants Negan to get the death penalty. AMC renews another dozen seasons as they fast-forward in time for 9, and Andrew Lincoln pulls a Captain America as he retires his role as Rick Grimes. But he's got to see Morgan one more time before he goes.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, a big shout out to
It legit almost happens
TV series out there that you guys want us to make another LME on for TV series, comment it down below. Whichever one gets the most will probably be the next one.
Thank you guys for watching this, and goodbye. You know what? No. I refuse. No, we're not leaving just yet. I'm refused. No, I'm sorry. Why do I refuse? No. Oh yeah, Lucifer's back. Did I not tell you guys that? I hope that makes you happy. God, I'm not hitting you. Thank you. Okay.